Hey everyone, as you know, over a month ago it was my birthday, and on that day I posted a video running all my model trains. But that was only part one. This is part two. It's been a while, and I wanted to come out with this video a lot sooner, but school and stuff like that kind of held me up on that, and I was a little burnt out, but I'm glad I got this out soon enough. But yeah, I'm going to be running the rest of my engines for this video, so sit back and enjoy. For my first locomotive on this list, this is my Illinois Central number 9600. This engine is a GP38-2, and it came out in around 1976, around that time. And it was pretty much made, if I'm correct, it was pretty much made until Wi-Fi was bought out by Walters. So it was made for a pretty long time, so pretty cool. I got it in around March of this year, and you would have seen it in my second garage sale video and my repair shop update video. The real life counterpart, and yes, this thing is prototypical. The real life counterpart, it's pretty close to this model. I guess this model is pretty close to it. It is missing a little bit of details, but I do like it. You can see some of the screws, and I like how the fans, you can actually see through them, so that's pretty cool, but it is pretty plasticky because it's lifelike. But yeah, pretty cool. And it comes with free weathering because it's been, I guess, stuck in the garage for years on end, so that's nice, I guess. Not really, but nice for detail, so not complaining too much. But for the performance, it's a different story. It doesn't have great pulling power, and it's just kind of rough. It's also really slow, so it's really power hungry. So yeah, not great with that, but overall pretty cool engine. Also should probably mention that the real life engine was named Casey Jones. That was the nickname. I don't know why, besides the fact that Casey Jones was part of the railroad, the Illinois Central Railroad, and he was a hero. He saved a ton of lives. I don't exactly know why this specific locomotive was named after that guy, but cool still. So yeah, pretty cool. For my next locomotive, this is my Athearn Santa Fe number 100. This engine is an EMD FP45, and it was made in around the early 70s, around 72 if I remember correctly. I got it during my birthday of last year, or around there, and you wouldn't have seen it in, well, actually this never showed up in any videos. So this is its first time on the channel, so pretty cool. It does actually have a real life counterpart. The detail is, well, I guess you could say it has most of every detail that the real engine had, but my model isn't really in the best shape, so a lot of details are missing from it. I don't know what happened to this thing, but it's just in really rough shape right now, so I hope to restore it at one point. The performance is pretty good, I'd say. Well, okay, not great. I guess it's a tiny bit noisy, but it is pretty smooth, especially for its era. So, pretty cool. Now, originally I didn't think it could run on my 18 radius layout, but It actually can, which is what I discovered in this video of it that you're about to see. So, yeah, pretty cool. I guess I should probably mention that I did get this with one of my steam locomotives, which you are going to see in the next engine I'm going to talk about. So pretty cool. And it was also one of the engines that I got for free from a seller that I go to a lot. So weird, but yeah, cool. He just gave me it as a present, so pretty nice guy. Update. So this thing can run all of a sudden. So you know how I said the struts were too long to actually go on my curbs, my 18 radius curbs? Now it just did, for some reason. Out of nowhere, so. Again, I'm not complaining. It's that's awesome, but I'm so confused. How did it do that? No problem. I guess you want to see it do it, though. See? Look at it. This is going across. Like, it's nothing. That makes no sense. How is it doing that? At first it just wasn't, and then it just did. Okay, here it is again. Yeah, so I'm confused, but you know, it runs now, which is good. So, yeah. Weird locomotive. Another one of my locomotives is my Mahano Union Pacific 3524. This is a USRA 282, but it's not a real locomotive like my others were. I got it during my birthday of last year, around the time I got that Athearn Santa Fe number 100. You wouldn't have seen it in the repair shop and train show update and the new layout video. I did actually drop it at one point, so the smoke box door is kind of damaged, but the detail is pretty cool. The boiler is kind of simplistic, but it does have a few details here and there, but nothing too crazy. The performance is also kind of good. It can run smoothly at times, but if it gets dirty, it can stall pretty often. So, pretty good locomotive, I'd say, and is currently my only Union Pacific locomotive. I actually have another USRA 282. This is Athearn's Nickel Plate Road, number 586. I couldn't figure out when this engine was made, but it wasn't a real engine, at least that I know of. You would have found this in Time to Run the New Engines video and the Massive A Lot of Model Trains video. I got it around July of this year. The details are pretty good, I'd say. A lot of them I have to actually put on, which I don't really have much skill in doing that yet, so not really a great place to start. But when I get older, I probably will be able to do it. But the details are already on there, are already pretty good, and the paint is pretty good too. The performance is very smooth, although the tender keeps on derailing because the DCC wire that's on it keeps on kind of pushing it. So that's a major flaw in the design. But other than that, yeah, it's a pretty good runner. I couldn't put on the knuckle on the KD coupler either, because it's just really small and I got really shaky hands. So yeah, I'm gonna have to get used to this. But yeah, pretty cool engine. And maybe someday I can make a DCC. Hey, quick update. Yeah, when I said it kept on falling over, now it's not actually doing it. Now it's just running like like it always has been, for some reason. Yeah, I couldn't tell you. It's just. I mean, I'm not complaining though. It's a nice engine. I just don't know why. At first it was derailing all over the place, but then all of a sudden it was like just just going. It was just going. So, um, yeah. I don't know what I did. It's just yeah. But anyway, here's it running, I guess. Another one of my locomotives is my Tyco Rock Island number 4301. This locomotive is a Century 430 and it came out in around 1976. I got it during July of this year, and you would have seen it in my time to run my new engines video and the massive lot of model trains video. Has no real life counterpart. The details are alright. It has no side rails, but it's in pretty good shape, although its horns are pretty beat up. But overall detail is pretty simplistic. Not much. The performance, it's really slow, and I also gave it the nickname Smokey, and you might be able to guess why. Because it smokes sometimes, and I don't think that's a good thing, so I might have to get it checked out. But, yeah, very slow, and I guess it's kind of smooth. Like, you could, yeah, it runs pretty slow, but it still runs. And when I run at normal speed, it's just beaming. So, but not a bad locomotive. It's pretty average, I'd say. Well, when it comes to Tycos, just an average Tyco locomotive. So yeah, pretty cool. My next locomotive is my Tyco Burlington Northern number 415. This locomotive is a Baldwin RF-16 Shark Nose, and it was made in 1977. I got it with my first lot of HO scale model trains in around December of 2021, close to Christmas. And you would have seen it in one of my shorts. It's a fake locomotive, so it doesn't have any real life counterpart. Detail is pretty simplistic. A few screw spots, but for the most part, that's kind of it. The R16s were pretty simplistic looking, but yeah, this one is a bit more simplistic, so not crazy about of detail. So performance is alright. It's pretty average for a Tyco. Kind of noisy, but overall average. So nothing too special about this locomotive, but it can be pretty fun to run with like small trains. My next locomotive is this Bachmann FT. It doesn't have any road number, so it's just a Santa Fe locomotive. And, obviously it didn't actually exist in real life, and if it did, well, it had a number. This engine came out in around 1977, and a dummy came out in the following year. I got this locomotive in March of this year with my GP38 during in a garage sale, and you won't have seen it in my second garage sale video. The details are just average for a Bachmann at the time, well, a Bachmann diesel. So, pretty simplistic. Doesn't have a whole lot of detail besides the some screw spots, but that's really it. So nothing too crazy. The performance isn't that great. It's pretty rough and often stalls at times. So maybe I could use a lubricating. But yeah, Bachmann's like this just don't run the best. So my next locomotive is actually one of my favorites. This is Stewart's Hobbies Santa Fe F3A. This locomotive doesn't have a number, at least I can see, so it's probably not prototypical, but I couldn't find when it was made either. Just couldn't find anything about it on the internet, so I got it during March of this year with a whole lot of model trains, and you would have seen it in Massive Lot on Model Trains video. Yeah, I know that's not what it's actually called, but you would have seen it in that video, and you would have also seen it in the Time to Run the New Engines video. The detail is pretty simplistic. It's an F unit, so can't expect too much. I'd say it's pretty good overall for an F unit. There's a lot of separately applied details that you can put on yourself when you get it, so that's pretty cool. The performance is actually pretty good. It can run pretty smoothly, relatively smoothly, and it is fairly quiet compared to some of my other locomotives. And even when it's sturdy, it just keeps on running, so this thing is really good when it comes to that. And I guess the reason why it's one of my favorites is just because it's really easy to operate, and it's just really reliable. For my final O-gauge locomotive, this is my Lionel Thomas the Tank engine. Because what's a model train collection without Thomas? This came out in around 2013, and it's my only locomotive that uses a remote controller with the Lion Chief remote. I got it in Christmas time of 2020, so this was my second train that I got, which was after my Pennsylvania 565. You wouldn't have seen it in like all of the other O-gauge locomotives, which was SMT Christmas Train 2022. The detail is pretty simplistic. No screw spots or anything like that. It's just plastic shell, really. It does have moving eyes, which is pretty cool. And it also has rubber faces that you can put on it, a rubber mask. So it has angry, surprised, and tired. Or I guess surprised could also be scared if you wanted. But yeah, pretty cool. The performance is okay. The sound is pretty quiet since it's for younger kids. And for some reason it does make some weird noises when it creeps. That's not the audio. It's just, I guess, the sound of the gears themselves, I guess. Kind of weird. But yeah, pretty cool engine. For my next locomotive, well, this isn't actually a locomotive. This is my AHM Connecticut 2350. Now, this is a trolley, but I don't really study my trolleys, so I don't know what kind it is. And I couldn't find when it was made either. I got this during March of this year, and you wouldn't have seen it in my first garage sale video. The details are pretty good, I'd say. While it isn't all that close to its real life counterpart, it does have some cool details. While the real life counterpart is made out of metal, the model is based off of a wooden trolley, so it's cool to see the planks and some of the nails or screws, I guess. The performance isn't great, but it is a trolley, so not too much to expect from a trolley. Doesn't have the greatest pulling power, but it doesn't really need it, and it's not all that smooth. It can go pretty fast, but it can't go very slow, so pretty cool trolley. For my next locomotive, I have my lifelike Mountain Vista Express number 2008. This locomotive is part of a set. I didn't get the whole thing. It's just a locomotive, and I got it from a seller that I like to go to. He just actually gave me it for free because he's just really nice. This locomotive is an F7, and it was made, well, I actually kind of find out when it was made. I did see a date under it that said 2008. November 25th, September 25th, 2008, so, kind of weird, but I doubt that was when it was made, since Lifelike was already owned by Walters by then, so kind of weird. I got it not too long ago, in August of this year, not long after my birthday, and you would have seen it in my birthday lot video. It has no real life counterpart. It's just a fictional locomotive. It is a real type, but yeah, the paint job and just locomotive itself is just fictional. The detail is pretty good. Well, the molded detail is. It has basically no separately fitted parts besides the horns. Even then, that's not that well molded, but the shell itself is pretty well molded, I'd say. And the paint isn't bad too. I like the painting job. And as you can see, it's a painting of Mountain Vista in Colorado. The performance is alright. It's nothing too crazy. It is kind of noisy and doesn't have crazy pulling power. So it's very toy grade. But yeah, pretty decent engine, I'd say. For my final locomotive, this is my Bachmann Union Pacific number 2880. This locomotive is a USRA 462 Light Pacific locomotive. I couldn't find out when this was made, but I'd imagine probably in the early 2000s, around that time. I got it at the same time I got my last two engines, which was just after my birthday, and you would have seen it in the same video too, which was my birthday lot video. It has no real life counterpart that I know of, so it seems to just be a fictional engine. But the detail is pretty decent. Actually, it's pretty good. The one thing is that the bell actually rocks, which is pretty cool, and there's just a lot of separately fitted details. Although the funnel is somewhat blocked off, so there's not too much detail on that. Doesn't go in as deep as my other steam locomotives, but overall it's a pretty good engine. The performance isn't the greatest in the world. It is pretty smooth, but when it's dirty it doesn't run as good as some of my other engines. And I can't actually use it with my MRC Tech 2 transformer, which is the one I use with all of my other HO scale locomotives. And today I have to use it with a Bachmann controller because for some reason it likes to go backwards with my MRC one. So really weird. And it only goes backwards, it never goes forward, so really weird engine. And the Bachmann controller I have isn't that good, so not the greatest. But it is DCC and is DC compatible, so even if you run it on DC, it can still play sounds and all that. So pretty cool. Could be a little bit better, but yeah, I like it. My next locomotive is actually a prototypical one. This locomotive is my Athearn Santa Fe number 75. This locomotive is an Alco PA and it was made in around 1970. I got this locomotive the same time around my Mount Vista Express locomotive. Actually, the same day. It was part of the same lot. And you would have seen it in the same video, which was my birthday lot video. Its detail is pretty good, I'd say. Well, it's actually pretty simplistic. There basically are no separately molded details besides the horns. But the horns are pretty well molded. So, pretty simple locomotive. So, not the closest to its real life counterpart, but it's pretty alright. The performance isn't the best. It's kind of dirty and rough. So I couldn't run it for this video. But hopefully I can restore it at some point. But yeah, pretty cool. If you're still watching, congratulations. You made it to the end. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please well, you don't have to, but I'd appreciate it if you hit that like button and subscribe, and maybe hit that bell button so you never miss a next video. So, if you enjoyed it, that's nice. Sorry it took me so long to get this out. I kind of tried to get myself together here and there, between now and then. So, I will see you later.